All right, so this one's going to be a little bit of a behind the scenes how I do it. Was just talking to one of my workmates and discussing the DXFs that I bring over from McMaster-Carr. So for those who aren't familiar, or if you're playing along at home, McMaster-Carr has amazing resources as far as all of their fasteners, and I mean quite a bit of even just components like, you know, pipes and stuff like that. But we live over here in the hardware. You can get real size DXFs on anything you need. So you can drill down to the part number and just click on there, and that gives you, you know, and I'm just working with 2-dimensional DXF. I mean, they have the 3D models. All of this stuff is free for you to use. So it's pretty ridiculous. So since I work with Corel and I'm pretty much 2D as it is, I just bring in a 2D DXF, and you just download it and import it. And then now you have a full size piece to work with. And you can mock up and scale and stuff like that. So I have the usual suspects. McMaster-Carr is so ridiculously good that if you were a hardcore developer, they have APIs that you could actually sign up for their program, and they bless you with the keys. And you could actually directly, you know, access their servers and get all of those DXFs and you know, SolidWorks stuff direct with push. You know, you can program it, and so I'm not quite there. So what I did is I just went ahead and made push buttons, and I just went ahead and downloaded all of the DXFs that I use, and you can see I have room. I'm going to keep, you know, adding on as I need, but this is pretty much the inventory that we use. You know, brass inserts, riv nuts all day. These are my sheet metal screws. I have my Phillips pan, and I have my flathead here. Self tappers we use a lot of, and then a lot of the nuts and bolts. So I went ahead and brought those DXFs in, put them in a folder, and I programmatically hit them, you know, and bring up all the DXFs I need. Like these are all the aluminum nuts we use, and I brought those in. What I was going to do is like the self tappers, which are really, you know, we use a lot of number 10 self tappers, things like that. So you can see I bring that in. This is a 1-to-1, so it's full size. So it allows me to prototype rapidly. I can just, you know, this is exactly the dimensions and everything, so I can make sure stuff fits. So, but I don't mind working in outlines. You know, if I make a square, I just work in hairline. I don't need to usually have fills. I just usually make the outline a certain color, and that's fine. So when I'm dealing with, you know, this DXF here, when I go to, you know, to use it, I just pretty much just leave it black or of color, and I'll just hairline it, convert it to curves, and then, you know, we're good to go. And that's all I need. And that just shows that, yeah, I've screwed this in there, and, you know, great. So, but on the graphics side, you know who I'm talking about, my homies over there. Oftentimes when you go to print this out and you want to show a customer a drawing, you know, for me, I'm just using it to mock stuff up, and then I send parts out to production. Great. And then everything that I've done here pretty much just goes into cold storage, because once I've solved the problem, I'm done. But they're going to want to print this out. And rather than just having a skeleton view, and then obviously through that skeleton view, now I can see the line. So in graphics, they kind of want to maybe make this solid. They want to make this gray, like in real life. That way it stays on top. Because if I were to, you know, make this rectangle this color, and you bring this to the top, well, you can see through it. So you'd want to fill this and make this like a gray color. But the issue is, so if we switch over to hairline here, what I'll do is I'll convert this to a curve. So you can see where it's just a series of lines. So there's no way for Corel to actually fill this. All it does is it just sees a bunch of black lines, and it doesn't allow it to fill. So like if I were to just make a circle here, right? And then you know, hit fill, I can change it to whatever color I want. Whereas it doesn't see this as a connected piece. This is just a series of lines. So it's always a challenge to do a fill on something like that when you're bringing this in. So I just did a quick little experiment, and what I found was bringing this in and leaving. So what we'll do is we'll bring in the DXF. Let's start from scratch here. Let's clean it up. So anyway, so that just lays the groundwork. This is more for people who might just be interested in, you know, because I do have 57 subscribers. So, you know, for my homies and stuff that know who I'm talking about, they're like, yeah, I already know this. So, but maybe this will help somebody who's watching. So anyway, so you bring in a DXF. This is a 1-inch number 10 self-tapper. And so what I do is it comes in grouped. So I'll duplicate it so I can leave the OG one there. That's, you know, that's it. So I, you know, that way I don't destruct the real one. You ungroup it, and then I'll just drag all this stuff out and clean it up. So I don't need that. And then these are live dimensions, just like, you know, just like in Corel. So if you drag it, this changes the dimension. So you get rid of all these dimensions, but make sure you don't accidentally delete, you know, some of that. That's what I'm saying, each of these little line segments. So as you sort of group grab, make sure you don't get rid of any lines. There you go. All right, so now you got that. Now what I do is convert this. So if you can see down towards the bottom here, that's 183 objects. So there's 183 little segments that are making up this drawing. So I just convert this to one curve. There you go. And then I'll convert this to one curve. There you go. Now, you know, when you're working with these objects and stuff, these are the nodes. So look at that party. That's a node party. So what you want to do is reduce these nodes, obviously. So I go up here, you know, and again, this is just Corel, normal Corel stuff. And then you just come up here, select all, reduce these nodes. Okay. So now that I have the nodes reduced, and this is now a curve, but it's just a bunch of lines. So you can just see the line segments. Then what I do is we're going to convert all of these objects to shapes. So right now Corel is just reading this vector line. You can see the line there. But what we're going to do is make Corel now just register the outside of the black part there will become an actual shape. So what you do is just go up here to object, convert, and then convert outline shapes. And now, as you can see, if I select here, you can see now where the line is on the outside. So this has now become a fillable object because Corel now has sort of fused it together, if you will. So if I want to make this dark gray, see, there you go. So now it can fill. So let's just set that to black. Now what I do is I just duplicate. I have my nudge set for 1 inch. That's just how I roll. And then what you're going to do is just set this, if you want, just, you know, set this to the color that you want the screw to be now. And then just hit break curve apart. And there you go. Now you have the outline. See, I'm going to just move this down 1 more inch. There you go. So you can see all the pieces now I've broken apart. And you can just get rid of all that. And there is the outline of the screw. And then now all you got to do is just put that there, put that to the bottom. And now so basically it's cheating. It's 2 parts. But now you have a backer that can be changed to whatever color. There's your fill. So just like Jeff Foxworthy would say. So all you got to do is move this up and send it to the back, and there you go. So now you have a fillable screw, and then you can just group these together, and there you go. And that just goes for any of the DXFs. What I have found though is if you don't reduce the nodes, I did have some showstoppers, and some of these really, I mean, it beach balled. It went, yeah. So you got to definitely. Let's see, let's just experiment here with a machine screw. There's a 10x1/2. So again, I duplicate. I'll just bring it down here, ungroup, bring out what I want to work with, get rid of all the dimensions, making sure not to get rid of anything. But yeah, when I change what I notice is if I change the thickness of these lines, like I can make this a hairline. This caused it to like the thinner the stroke was when I converted to object, it got angry and it beach balled forever and I got not responding. I basically had to reboot Corel. So I guess just leave it thick like that. And then that I guess that's better. It likes it better, I guess. So I'm converting to curves. Look at all those nodes. Woo! So reduce nodes, convert to curves. Look at those nodes. Woo! Reduce nodes. There we go. Now we convert object to curves. There we go. And then just come down one. Let's just pick a fill. We'll go purple. What's up? What's up, lavender? And then we just break this curve apart and ship it back up to the top, send it to the back, and there's our filled. So anyway, I hope that helps. Again, if anyone who's using Corel, utilize the McMaster-Carr. It's there, it's free. I mean, we get a lot of our parts from McMaster-Carr, obviously, but we use outside vendor supplied inventory and stuff like that, vendor maintained inventory. But when it comes to McMaster-Carr, you can't beat all these. I mean, they're free DXFs for prototyping and laying stuff out, and it's great. So that's how you do a fill on that, and hope that helps.